Alright, so this is the beginning of me really talking about the comparisons between Irial in Wicked Lovely and Rhysand in ACOTAR. Go to part 1 for me to explain the baseline comparison between the two of them. There will be spoilers for both series. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about nightmares. Both characters are described in some way as being connected to nightmares. Rhysand, you have the Court of Nightmares. Irial is literally described as the King of Nightmares. Difference between the two of them that I feel gives Irial an edge is that Irial accepts that he is a nightmare. He accepts his nightmare side, his monster, where Rhysand has not accepted his monster. So many times we see like in ACOMAF where he's talking to right after the whole events when he takes Feyre in the mountain, not in the mountain, when he takes Feyre to the Court of Nightmares, and that whole scene, he says that he is a demon and a nightmare and he will meet a bad end. And then there's where Feyre describes his beast form, and he describes it as a nightmare, as this horrific creature, and he doesn't want to show it. Whereas if you read Ink Exchange, which is one of my favorite books of all time, Irial so often is seen as almost embracing what he is. He understands that he is a creature of darkness, that he is something that is not holy, that he is a nightmare, he is darkness, and that doesn't make him evil. It's who he is. He's neither as good this is literally a quote, neither as good nor as evil as others paint him. And then there's like one of my favorite quotes of all time. I literally have it tattooed on me. What does it mean when nightmares dream of peace, when shadows wish for light? And you can also even compare this to Feyre, who looks in the Ouroboros mirror, sees her quote-unquote nightmare, looks at it, and accepts it. And I find it interesting that Rhysand can accept Feyre's nightmare side, but he cannot accept his own nightmare. And I think, and there's another creator on here who has talked about this more in depth, that I feel, and I agree with her, Rhysand needs to accept his nightmare side, and this goes into the next video that I'm going to do, that comparing the two, Irial and Rhysand. So if you so choose, go on to part 3. So part 2 of me comparing Irial from the Wicked Lovely series to Rhysand in the ACOTAR series. Spoilers for both series. Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about Irial and Rhysand and the way they handle being leaders of their courts. So some people may disagree with me with Rhysand, but I am one of those people that really see Rhysand as somebody who only really wants to rule Valaris. He obviously loves Valaris, and that's great and wonderful and dandy, but he is not High Lord of Valaris. He is High Lord of the Night Court. Irial realizes that Irial is a type of leader that realizes that in order for him to be a good king, he has to give his full and undivided attention to the court. He cannot have his attentions divided. And the moment he realizes that he can no longer do that, he steps down and gives the court to somebody else. I'm not going to go into spoilers on that. If Rhysand cannot focus his entire attention on his entire court, and that includes the I saw something. The Court of Nightmares, the Illyrians, everything, then maybe the Night Court needs to be split up. He can stay in Valaris, he can be the High Lord of the Dream Court, maybe we can find somebody else to be High Lord of the Court of Nightmares. The Illyrians can be their own thing. I don't know. But the fact that he does not seem to focus his his whole entire attention on everything is kind of a problem. Where as soon as Irial realized this, like, and Irial literally sacrificed somebody he cared about in order to, one, protect that person from dying, and two, to protect his court. Like, what that whole situation with Irial cost him the love of his life and 12 centuries of heartbreak. It was a big deal. Like, an extremely big deal. And that's now going to go on to the third video. So part 3 of talking about Irial from the Wicked Lovely series versus Rhysand from ACOTAR. So I want to talk about self-sacrifice. And this one, I feel they are in a way equally matched. So you have Rhysand sacrificing himself for 50 years on the mountain for Valaris or his court, making sure that Amarantha never looks at his court again, doing, like, you know, basically doing everything he can to, like, not really caring if people, you know, see him as evil. As long as his court's okay, he sacrifices his life to basically save the world when the cauldron's been destroyed, that whole thing. And then you have sort of what Irial does in the Wicked Lovely series. And so spoiler for the Wicked Lovely series, especially for Ink Exchange, Irial, like I said, is the king of the Dark Court, and he steps down once he realizes that he can no longer focus solely on the court. Now, he had in the past a lover named Neil, and stuff happened with that, and both Neil and Irial are what are known as the Gankana, and I'm pronouncing that wrong, but they are basically they're called love. It's called a love taker. They have a drug in their skin that makes them addicted to mortals, and mortals, if they're with them, they basically will die after being with them. They both fall in love with a female woman named Leslie, and Irial, basically, by not being king anymore, can no longer be with Leslie, because being with her will be harmful to her. It will literally kill her. So by not being king anymore, he literally gives up the ability to be with the woman he loves. He literally gives up the ability to be with the man he loves, because there's no way he's going to know that Neil's going to want to be with him. Just for the main purpose, so that the two people he loves the most can be together, because they love each other. So, and then he does a bunch of other stuff, and I don't have time. But later on, I'm going to do another video that has to do with the tattoos. But I don't have time to do that right now, because So this should be the last part of me talking about Irial from the Wicked Lovely series and Rhysand from ACOTAR series, and the similarities between the two characters. So spoilers for both series. You can go back to the 2 or 3 videos before this and see the other things that I've talked about. Okay, so I want to focus on the tattoos, because both characters have tattoos that are put on their, at the time, human love interests, and I want to kind of focus on that. So we have Rhysand's tattoo that is put on Feyre. Now, there is no official artwork that is given for Feyre's tattoo. This artwork is by Merwild, so that is sort of just a description, something similar to what Feyre's tattoo would be. Now, we all know that Rhysand forced Feyre to get that tattoo. Feyre was in a position where she really didn't have a choice. It was either get the tattoo or die. He goes into her cell. He tells her about the bargain. She says no. He's like, oh, you're gonna wait for Lucian. And she's like, mm. And then he's like, he's not coming. He's hurt. No, you think he's coming? He's not. You're dying. She says, she's like, fuck you. No. And he's like, fine, you can wait for her, but you're dying. And if I leave, I'm not coming back. He goes to leave. She's like, oh God, I am dying. Okay, fine. That's when he gives her the, that's when they have a little back and forth, and they agree on 1 week, and then they go and he gives her the bargain. It's not really Feyre's choice here. I mean, he literally grabs her arm, the arm that is broken and like shattered, and twists it, like makes it hurt, like brings more attention to this arm that's hurting, more attention to his arm, more attention to the fact that she's dying, that she needs his help, and that he is literally the only one that can help her, and that she will die without him, and that she has no choice. And I'm going to need part 2 to go on to talk about the tattoo with Irial, so go over. So I've been doing a little quick series comparing Irial from the Wicked Lovely series and Rhysand from the ACOTAR series. The video before this, I was focusing on the tattoo, the bargain between Rhysand and Feyre, and now I'm going to be focusing on the tattoo that is between Irial and Leslie. So there will be spoilers for Ink Exchange by Melissa Marr. Okay, so we actually do have like legit art of what Leslie's tattoo is, and it's this right here. So the difference between the tattoos, that between Feyre's tattoo and Leslie's tattoo, both tattoos change the perspective people. Leslie's tattoo does change her, but Leslie chooses her tattoo. Irial, never at any point does he ever manipulate her into getting her tattoo. I'm not going to go into details on what the purpose of the tattoo, but Leslie goes into the tattoo parlor. She looks through pages of books. She finds this particular book. She sees the tattoo with the wings and the eyes and the whole 9 yards, and she says, I want that one. Rabbit, who's another character in the story, tries to talk her out of it. It's like, is there any other tattoo she wants? And she says, no, I want that one. That one is mine. And then that is kind of how the story begins. And it goes from there. Now, what happens with the ink exchanges and what that kind of does and the consequences of that, you'll have to read the story to find out all of that. Yes, I sometimes do wonder if my upstairs neighbor is okay. I don't know. But this may sort of conclude. There may be more videos. I don't know. I don't have anything at this current moment. But yeah, maybe I have one more just to do a kind of conclusion, because I have like 30 seconds left. Like, where are the 10-minute videos? Like, I swear. But yeah. So to sort of wrap up this Irial versus Rhysand thing, and obviously I like Rhysand. I'm not gonna say I don't. I obviously do. But what I love about Irial is the fact that he does accept every aspect about himself. The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. He has no qualms in who he is. He doesn't shy away from who he is. He understands he's done some terrible, horrible things in the past, and he seeks in the future, in his present, to not be ashamed of what he did in the past, but to actively in the future, in his present and in the future, to do better by the people that he loves, and to make sure that their lives are richer and better, slight spoilers, like the two people that he's in love with, he will go to the ends of the earth for them. Like, it's kind of excessive, like the amount of this love he has for the two people in his life. Like, he finds out that he has a secret great granddaughter. I'm not gonna say who it is, but, and he's like, oh my god, I didn't know, I'm a grandpappy and I'm gonna buy her like all these things, like what coming out of what, and he's so excited and he loves so heavily, and he's just this like dark, powerful, loving, amazing character, and no point does he ever forget who he is, even at his lowest points, and he's constantly bringing other characters out from the very depths of their own despair out. Like, you have characters like Neil, even characters like, I never liked that there's a character named Keenan, which I actually am thinking of doing a similar, like maybe shorter comparison of comparing Keenan to Tamlin. And I didn't like Keenan in the first couple of books, and then Darkest Mercy I ended up like really liking Keenan, and part of that had to do with Irial. Like, he's such a cool character, like seriously, like he is what I want Rhysand to be. Like, come on, like, I'm gonna go make coffee now. Like, if you think I'm like hurt now, like, wait till I have some coffee. Like, seriously.